So I thank him for accepting our invitation to conduct this webinar.
Thanks. So just confirm me once more that you are able to see my screen properly.
Yes, I am able to see the screen.
Okay. So Om Shri Manjunathaya Nama. Yelrigu Namaskara. Hi everyone. I am Prateek, and I wish you all, my younger friends, a very good afternoon. A very good afternoon to all my respected teachers who are present in this webinar and who are from my department. So today we all are here to know something about data and data engineering. So when it comes to career options these days, the scope has really widened. You are independent to learn the tech stack of your choice, and you can choose your own career path. So someone wants to be a full stack developer, someone just wants to be a software developer or a software engineer, someone wants to pursue their career in data engineering, and similarly there are different career options, and you have that liberty these days, to choose your path and shape up your career. So I hope all those who have joined us here, like, they are trying to know something more about the data domain, and I'll try my level best to convey my thoughts on data and data engineering to you all. So before starting, I have a request to all of you. Please do not hesitate to ask questions. I'll be more than happy to answer if you have any doubts during the webinar. You can ask me anytime. You can just unmute. I know it's difficult to unmute yourself in front of 100 people and just ask something, whatever is there in your mind. I'll be reachable to you all even after this session. So please feel free to reach out, okay? Just be comfortable because I am also someone like you. Where you are sitting today, I have been there, I have been a part of that. So, with this note, I'll start the presentation, and I hope you all will, get to learn something from this. So, today we are going to discuss about pursuing career in data engineering. So, I'll give a brief about myself. So, I completed my computer science engineering from SDMIT in 2020. So, I was in the batch 1620. So, while pursuing my engineering, I have worked as a freelancing technical content writer. So, this was done, I mean, when I was in my second or third year. So, I started, working as a technical content writer during those days. Apart from it, in being in my final year, I worked as a freelance data analyst in a quant fund organization, and it was a freelancing work again, which I did. And I was a part of this until this year's May. Currently, I'm working as a data engineer since May 2021 in Lumen Technologies. So now you must be wondering, like, why data domain? Why not software engineering? And when did I start? And what you can take away from this session? So I'll be covering them all. I'll try to cover them all in this session. So now coming to the theory part, like, what is data? So data basically refers to the distinct pieces of information which is usually formatted or stored in a way which is served for a specific purpose. So like every data has some meaning. So whatever is there, it will be formatted and it will be stored in some specific format somewhere. Either it could be a database or it can be anywhere. Like not all datas are electronic. There are some data which are stored there in your brain as well. Like if I ask you what is your birth date, so you will instantly respond me like so and so is my birth date. So how do you know that? So you know that because you have some data stored in your brain. So it's, don't think of data like it's only for the electronic purpose. So as I said, so data can exist in various forms such as numbers or recorded text as bits or bytes stored in the electronic memory and as a fact of living in a person's mind. So it's all data. Everything is data. So with introduction to computer science in the mid 1900s, so data most commonly is the information transmitted electronically in digital terms. So this was the particular definition of data what came into picture when the computer science was introduced to the world. So in the mid 1900s, the computer science industry was booming. That was the time when it was booming. So at that time, the definition of data, what it interpreted was that is it is the information which is transmitted or stored electronically in digital terms. So this is what we mean by data. So now let us see what are the types of data. So the very first one is the raw data. So raw data is the data with which are having no schemas or that are like unprocessed data. So for example, it's a JSON format. So I think final year students would be knowing what JSON format means, but I think for my younger friends who are from third semesters, they might not be having any idea about this. So you can understand it like unprocessed data. So which is not processed, which is not clear enough. You don't know what is the meaning of that data until unless you segregate them or prepare them. So how do we prepare them? So that is the next step, which is processed data. So here the raw data with some schemas are stored in the tables. So for example, you have information related to students. So it could be like their name, their USN, their hometown, and the department in which they are studying. So this is a processed data where you have each and every information stored in a structured way. Like there is some structure, there is some schema being followed, and those students, I said the student information. So student information with department. So it can be further categorized into department information. So these many students are a part of this department, and similarly, there is a schema, particular schema, which explains the data. Like the data is understandable, more understandable to you people. So that is what we call as processed data. And finally, we have something called cooked data. So cooked data is something like which is summarized or analyzed. So finally, out of those data, if we are going to get some meaningful insights, like I gave an example of students' information. So like if I want to find out like which are the students who are outside Karnataka, so I have their hometown information. So from there I can sort my data into like who are the students who are belonging to Karnataka, who are from outside Karnataka. So that is easy when you have the cooked data. So these are the basic main types of data. Okay.
Yeah, Pratik, ja, I'm listening. Okay, I'm taking notes also. I'm
Yeah.
listening your talk. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay. So let us know something about data engineering. So the key to understand what data engineering is, it lies in the engineering part. So who are engineers basically? So engineers are the one who design and build things. So in order to understand data engineering, you need to understand the meaning of engineering. So that is where the exact meaning of data engineering lies. Like we are the one who design and build things. We, me, including you all. So data engineers design and build pipelines that transform and transport data into various formats. So by the time it reaches to the data scientist or the higher level hierarchy, so it is in the highly usable state. Okay. So the main processing of the data is being done by the data engineers. Like in order to clean up the data, make them meaningful. Like I told you about the different formats of data, like different types of data. So sometimes it will be unstructured. You have to make them structured, and by the time it reaches the higher hierarchy, like data scientists or who are data experts, so that time it should be in a highly usable state. So that is the task of data engineers. And these pipelines must take the data from various sources. So there can be any source, and multiple sources are there from where the data can come. Okay. And they are collected into a single warehouse, and that represents the data uniformly as a single unit. So data can be, I mean, what I mean from this is like data can come from various sources. There are multiple sources for, something. So these sources get combined into a data warehouse. There is a broader term called data warehouse where it all will get combined, and this will entirely represent a single unit of information. So combined from multiple things. So I have an image which will reflect this further. So before going to that, we'll just summarize what is data engineering. So it comprises of designing, building, and scaling systems which organize data for analytics purpose. And it helps us to understand how to deal with data. So this is what data engineering means. And insight for you all, like mainly ETL and ELT development and data cleanup comes into picture when we talk about data engineering. So ETL means extract, transform, and load. It's a process. So I'll be speaking about it later and in the upcoming slides, and you will come to know. So this was an insight for you all. Okay. Now let's see, what do data engineers do? So you see, I talked about the sources. So as you see here, there are multiple sources for a data. It could be operational system, ERP. ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. And there is CRM, SQL, and flat files and or spreadsheets. So these are, different kind of sources. There are multiple. There are more than, more than this, what I have explained in this picture. So, I mean, mainly the sources could be the main sources which are, common or popular. So these are the sources from where you get the data. And these data, so the data engineering process, what it will do is, so you see something called ETL, extract, transform, and load. So the extraction part will be carried out. So it will extract the information from the data source. Then the data validation will be carried out. Further, we'll clean the data. So cleaning the data means, I mean, removing. So I'll talk in a broader sense. Okay. So let us suppose we have information about students. We'll take the common example. Okay, we have information about a student, and there is a value for USN, which I told. Like we have columns like name, USN, and their hometown and their department. So if suppose a student's name is present and his USN is present, but neither his hometown is there nor his department is there, it is, I mean, is it easy to identify them? So at that time, what we'll do is we'll perform data cleanup for that particular thing. We'll first try to approach like whether we can find the exact data for that particular student. I mean, we will remove that data from our data set. So this is called data cleaning. And then for the data transforming and aggregating and loading comes into picture. So transforming means if we are going to change its, format, how we are going to present it to the end user. Like you have your data stored in your basic SQL developer in the database. So if you want to present it to the students, like I mean, in a pictured way or on a website, so how that transforming should take place, that there you need to have your logic taking place. And finally the loading process. So the loading process is done to load your data from the various sources into your data warehouse. As I said, it will be the collection. It is the collection of data from the various sources. You see here, there are multiple sources. The data is cleaned up. I mean, the process is taken place of extract, transform, and load. And finally, it comes into data warehouse where all types of data will be stored. So this is basically the data flow. And finally, you see the BI result. That is business intelligence. So business intelligence can be of multiple types. You can visualize this data. Now, whatever final data you have, you can visualize that. And visualization has, it has its own fun. Like you can come to know more insights while you visualize things. Like if you think about something and if you have a pictorial representation of that, so that will help you to capture keynotes of that particular data. And similarly reporting and dashboarding also can be performed. So this is the main task of data engineers. Now coming to the next part, like what else comes into data engineering? Like I talked a lot about data engineers. So what apart from data engineering? Let's see. So we have and data engineers I have talked about already, and data scientists. So data analysts are the one like who analyze numerical data and use them to help company in making better decisions. So they will be analyzing. The main task of data analyst will be to analyze the data and provide some meaningful information from that to the organization where they are working, or to anyone for whomsoever they are working. So that is the role of data analyst. Data engineer we have already talked. So let's come to data scientist. So what they do is they will analyze and interpret complex data. So complex data in the sense the main part will be carried out by data analyst and data engineering. They will provide the correct data. But the data amount of data flowing in this world now these days have rapidly grown. we cannot even imagine like how much data is currently flowing. Like while we are talking on this Google Meet, do you know the amount of data which is being consumed? Like you will come to know once you end the call, so and so amount of data. You will see a message from your telecom provider, like you consumed 500 MB of your data, 200 MB of data. So like the data flow has rapidly increased. So in order to analyze this data, I mean, this is really complex. I mean, so that's where big data and data science comes into play. And the one who handles this are called the data scientist, the expert of data. That's what we call them. So these are mainly the three categories where and data in the data domain where which you will see. So we'll discuss each one of them. So coming to the data analyst part. So this is the most entry level professionals are interested to getting into a data related job. So whosoever are interested, they will start off as a data analyst. So this is a a building step towards your career in the data domain. So what's needed for this is a strong technical skill, and you know if you have strong technical skill, you can crack any sort of interview. This is proven fact. Like if you are good in technicals, it it hides every other shortcomings in you. So be focused on the technical part, like be technically very sound. So this is one of the requirements for this. And other than this, company also expects you to understand the data handling, modeling, reporting techniques along with a strong understanding of business. So, from the point understanding of business, what I mean to say is you must understand what you are doing and why you are doing. So, if the requirement is not clear to you, you might not be able to produce the end result in a way what is expected from you. So, the first and foremost thing is to understand the requirement. So, wherever you go, like when you have a question in exam, I'll talk about your regular exams. So you do not just simply answer that until unless you don't know the answer. Once you, if you know the answer, you will always think about it, like how to frame a better answer. That is the understanding of a question. Similarly, the understanding of business would mean like you understand the proper requirement. So that would help you to give the better end result to the users or the customers. So that is the requirement, and that's how data analyst field works. So now next coming to the data engineer part. So data engineers, they need to have a strong technical background with the ability to create and develop ETLs. So ETL process I have already explained, like it is extraction and transformation and load of the data. So I'll not go back to that. I hope it was clear to you all. So now they also need to understand like data pipelining and performance optimization. So now data pipelining is something like channeling of the data. Like if it is coming from a source, it could go to multiple targets. So I think it's a broader term. So data pipeline, I will explain in a simpler words. Like it's a guiding the data towards the different locations. That is what data pipelining means. So coming to the performance optimization part. So this is what you need to learn. uh, I will request you to highlight this point, like performance optimization, how it can be done. So performance optimization means, I'll explain you with a simple example. Like if you have a SQL query which runs for 2 hours, let us suppose. So what performance optimization and what the expectation of your organization would be like if you can work to better this SQL and improve the performance of this. So I'll not just take SQL's example. Let's take an example of your code, whatever you write in Java, Python, or any of your language, C, C++. So if you run the code, once you click on run. So what happens is the compiler will compile the program and it will take some time. So suppose that is taking 2 hours of time to compile and give you the end result of your code. So what the expectation of organization will be is to always reduce the time of your operations. Like saving time is equivalent to saving money. That's what they say in corporate. Like how much time you save, that much money you are saving for them. So their main focus would be on performance optimization. And this thing you need to learn. Like how can you better your code? How can you write clean codes? How can you write, I mean, how can you avoid, multiple time taking codes? So these are the things you need to learn to be a good data engineer. So please focus on this, highlight this part. And other than this, company expect you to either acquire a master's degree So this is a requirement. Like if you are going to apply for a data engineer job, like either you should have a master degree in data related field, or you should gather good amount of experience as a data analyst. So either of the two works. Like you can have a data analyst experience or a master degree in the data domain. So this is what will help you to land your a job in data engineering field. Now coming to the data scientist part. So data scientist is the one who analyzes and interprets complex digital data, as I told earlier as well. So they deal with most complicated things. So while there are several ways to get into data scientist role, the most seamless one is the acquiring through experience. So once you get the experience by learning various data scientist skills, so there are multiple skills what a data scientist should have. Like they should be master of everything. Whatever lies there in data, they should know everything. So if they know everything about data, like they are capable enough to apply or reach to this height. So these skills include advanced statistical analysis, a complete understanding of machine learning and data conditioning. So machine learning, artificial intelligence, all of them come into picture when we talk about data scientists. So they are the one who will be expert in these domains. Like they will be expert in statistical analysis. Like any kind of complex data comes to them, uh, they have the cleanup technique, they have everything ready with them to give the meaningful insight about that data. Like during the pandemic we all saw like how data analysts or data scientists were analyzing the data. Like this is the time when the waves will go on peak, this is the time when but the thing was like they were near to the target, but they could not predict the accurate timing. We cannot predict the exact thing, but yeah, we will reach near to that with the skills and analytical skill, I mean. So during the pandemic as well, we saw one of the best examples. Like they were predicting the areas where we need, especially in terms of vaccination. So data scientists have helped the government a lot, to understand the data, like which area has least vaccination. So their door-to-door vaccination has been started. So these all things were carried out by data scientists. So they can be helpful in all the ways, not just the corporate world and in our society as well. So this was a brief about different domains of data engineering, data analyst, data engineer, and data scientist. So I hope you all got some views about this. Now coming to one of the questions which will be bubbling in all your minds, like how many languages do you need to know to enter into the world of data engineering? So I have a small tip, like focus on all, but master at least one. You need to focus on all, like whatever comes to you, learn everything, but master at least one. That mastering of one language will help you a lot in pursuing your career in any domain, not just data engineering. So this tip applies to everything, like focus on all, but master at least one. So now let us see what are the skills that are needed. This data is comprised of data analyst, data engineer, and data scientist, research analyst, and ML engineer. So these are, I said data scientist and higher hierarchy. Remember in my past slides, higher hierarchy means the research scientist and the ML engineers, machine learning engineers. So these are equivalent to data scientist role as well. So if you see the data analyst, they need to have good knowledge of SQL, Python, and R. You can see this here, and bit of PHP because they will be playing with the web as well. Apart from it, data engineers needs to know SQL and Python mainly, and Java and PHP up to some extent. And you see these graphs. While coming to data scientists, you see how the graphs are raising now. They need to do MATLAB, SAS, R, SQL, Python, Java, C++. So bits of everything. As I told, they will be expert of everything. Similarly, research scientists. So they will be like playing around the languages only. Like they will get the processed data, so they do not need to focus on the SQL. But these three, mainly data analyst, data engineer, and data scientist, they will focus on the SQL part as well because they will deal with the direct data. And similarly, coming to the ML engineer, so they will also focus on the languages part only. Okay, so these are the hierarchies of data and the skill set what is needed to be in that role, be suitable for that role, I must say. Okay, so the tools and skills which I will prefer you to learn will be MS Excel first and foremost. Like MS Excel, what it will do is it will help you to analyze data in a better way. Like there are multiple options. Once you have the data segregated of any sort of information, you can plot charts, you can plot any kind of graphs over there, and those graphs will give you a visualization and a learning, which will be important for you in further data visualization techniques. So the basic step what you should take is learn MS Excel properly and how to make the use of MS Excel in data engineering. So that would be my first advice to you all who all are interested into this domain. Next thing would be in the languages, that is Python. So Python, why Python? Why not other languages? Because in the current industry, the requirement of Python is like more. So earlier it was just Java, but nowadays Python has taken over that place. So if you are going to data domain, Python is a must, and this is given higher priority than Java. Java is also important, and Java will also help you, but more than Java, you should focus on Python. So next comes the SQL, SQL. So here also you need to have a mastery, like master this properly, and especially the CRUD operations over here. So the CRUD operations basically means creation, read, update, and deletion of the data. So you must understand like how your database behaves on your SQLs, on your command, whatever you are going to give them. So SQL is also programming language, just like Python. And the last but not the least, Java. So the old fish is still there, and it will not go anytime soon. So please do not ignore this. This will help you to learn various other languages which are very important in the field of data engineering, like Scala, so Apache Spark. So those are very big things and complex one as well. But yeah, if you have basic knowledge of Java, it will be easier for you further. So that's why I have mentioned these four for you. So stay focused on these. Now, coming to the next part. So, the interesting one is like sources to learn. So, I have included these three, YouTube videos for you guys so that you can learn. So, Online Learning Center is what I preferred and where I learned from. Like, this is the channel which I follow the most. So, here you have, data related every sort of information. They create good course contents, and most importantly, it is free of cost. Apart from it, there is a data science for engineers inside given by Nacho Subramanian. So he's a data scientist in financial company, finance domain. So he has a lot of experience in quant fund and other related things. So I have followed him personally, like since my early days when I was learning data and data science. So there is a webinar by him for on data science for engineers. So this is the webinar which I had attended in the pandemic, like while I was in my final year. So I have saved this. This is still there in my playlist. I watch it, to learn still. So I have given the link. I wish you guys also will check this out. And the last one is big data for beginners. So some of you might also be interested in knowing big data. So for those who are interested, there is a course from Simply Learn. So even this is one of the YouTube channels which are providing great content to learn. So I wish you guys also check this one out. So these three are the one main sources to learn for you who are trying to begin your career or who wish to start off their career in data domain. Now coming to the certification part. So like most preferences are given these days to Microsoft Data Engineer Certificate. So Microsoft conducts virtual training days on regular basis. So if you attend that, they will provide you a free of cost on this one certification actually. So the cost of the certification would be around $100, but if you attend their virtual training days, they will provide it to you at free of cost. So I want you all to utilize that opportunity. And if you have any doubts like how to get the Microsoft free certification, you can reach out to me. And the next one is from the Online Learning Center. As I said, I follow them the most. So they have a 40 hours curated data engineering course with hands-on and board work. So like the instructor has really structured the course in a beautiful way so that you can learn a lot of things about data engineering. So I wish you guys also check this out and make sure that you do the projects after learning in depth about this. So once you are thorough in data engineering or data domain things, so you must do at least 2 to 3 projects which can showcase your work and learning as well. So whenever you are going for an interview, the first and foremost thing they will see in your profile is like the certifications and your projects, like what you have done. So learning, simply learning things won't be enough in today's scenario. Like you need to implement them in small projects. It's just keep it simple, but yeah, it should reflect your learning. So that is the sole aim of this. Like create some projects, sample projects, 2 or 3. Ideally, 2 would be enough, but yeah, you can create as much as you want. So like it will, if you get interest, like if you are interested, really interested, right? So this won't have any boundaries. You will go on creating. You will go on, loving this. So make sure you do some projects after learning. So now another thing is how to make use of LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, I hope you all know about this. So if you don't, then go and create your profile if you don't have one, as it's the best platform for professionals like you and me. So if you don't have a profile, just go and create one. And now then make sure that you make lots of connection. What I mean by this is, like, if someone is interested to become a full stack developer, then just type full stack developer and search like who are working in that domain. Make some connections with them. Like in LinkedIn, as Facebook has friend request, LinkedIn has connection request. So if you are connected with them, someday or the other, they will be helpful to you. Like there are various requirements which people post on LinkedIn. You can just see them, attend the interviews, attend the calls. You can get in touch with them who are already working in that domain. Like, see, you are students, you are still aspiring to, land yourself into some job, and they are the one who are already working. So if you can, just get in touch with them, who knows, they can provide you opportunity to work with them in their organization only. So it's always good to have lots of connection, and I request you all to just go and make your LinkedIn profile. And if you have it, just send a lot of connection requests to the people who are in the domain which you are interested. So if someone wants to become a data analyst, so you can just send request to data analysts who are already working as a data analyst in some organizations. So it will come to help one day for sure. Okay, so please follow this advice and build a strong profile. The other thing is building a strong profile, like which highlights the best thing about you. So once your profile has, the best about it, like your profile should be like, it says everything about you. You need not explain it to someone. Like while someone is trying to approach you, they already know the basic like what basic insights about you, like what this person works, what this person is knowing. And this will increase your chance to land into freelancing as well. Like there are a lot of people who are looking for freelancers on LinkedIn as well. So once you have a strong profile, it will make your life easy for sure. So just follow these advices. And then, so coming to the last part, like milestones which you need to aim at. So as I said, begin with Excel. Excel and its usage in making data readable and perform curative analysis. So Excel will help you to perform calculative and curative analysis as well. So just begin your data journey with Excel. Then the next part is focus on SQL. So SQL will help you to know and perform CRUD operations on data, which is most important. So as I told about CRUD operations, this basically stands for create, read, update, and delete. So this is the main thing what you are going to do with the data. And next will be followed by the languages what you are going to learn. So Java, focus on Java, and it will help you in being flexible to work with Scala in future. Like there should not be any boundaries. Like if you some tomorrow you are going to apply for some job and the requirement says like you need to have a skill as Java, not Python. At that time, you should not regret like, oh, I should have learned Java. I missed that in my years. Like I was only focusing on Python. So focus on these two. Okay, give equal importance to them. And last is Python. So the ultimate thing to master would be Python. That will help you to go along with any other data needs. So like most of the requirement will be in Python only. So this was brief about the milestones which you can aim at in the coming time. And now let us come to another interesting part, like the salary in the industry standards. Like what are the salaries for a regular software engineer and data engineer? So once you begin your journey as a software engineer, the average salary in India is 4 lakhs per annum. So this is the reality. Like software engineer trainees get the salary of 4 lakhs per annum in most of the cases. Okay, so that's a national average, and the data is taken from Glassdoor, which is one of the most trusted websites when it comes to seeing the salary structures of different organizations. So they have curated this information as like the average salary of an engineer, software engineer trainee. That is what you will get as you start. Will be 4 lakhs per annum. Any guesses like what it could be for data engineer?
Okay, I will only guess that whether it is 10 lakhs.
You are close.
Okay, there is answer
Yeah.
from Tilak, but 8 lakhs per annum.
Okay, nice. That's the right answer. So that's the national average of India. For data engineers, it's the national average. So at the entry level, you will be, getting somewhere around this. So this is not the exact figure, but you will be getting somewhere around this. So good answer, Tilak. Appreciate. And similarly, if you want to know the salary of a data analyst, so I have given a link. You can check that out later as well. So, this gives a lot of motivation to someone who wants to start their career in data domain. Like you will be paid more because this is the booming technology and this has a lot of requirements these days. So when you have, there are interesting things to learn. Even the salaries are nice. So why not give a try to this? So just think of it, okay? And the last part, like I'll be reachable to you all. And lastly, so every data has something to say. Just change your vision of looking at it. That's all from my end, guys. Thank you so much for being patient and listening to me. Thank you so much.
Okay, Pratik, can you say briefly the difference between the data engineer and data scientist?
Yeah, so as I said, the data engineers work for the data scientist basically. So they are the one who curate the data, on the making the data meaningful. That is the role of data engineers. So they will make the best out of the data, and that data will be going to the scientist for further analysis. Like they don't have to spend that amount of time in doing the data cleanup. That is the role of data engineers basically. And data scientists, what they will do is once they have the proper data, the cleaned up data.
Data cleaning will be done
Mhm.
by.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
here data cleaning. So data cleaning will be done
So
by
data
whom?
engineers will be doing that. Like the proper data should be there in the target. That is the main aim of doing this data engineering. So your data should be clean when it reaches to the end users. That is the sole aim of data engineering. And further, that clean data, that exact data, the correct. Mhm.
Okay, data scientist.
Yeah, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, what about data
Yeah.
scientists? What is
Yeah,
their
so
main
their
role?
main role will be to get some meaningful insights from these data, whatever is being curated or sent to them. So they will be working on these data to find out meaningful information out of it, like what this data means. Like as I told, an example of vaccination drive. So the data scientists have helped our nation, to reach out to the places where the vaccination drive was poor. So how did they manage to do that? They collected the data. So someone like a data analyst would have collected the data. Someone like data engineer would have processed that data to make that clean up. And then the data scientist would have analyzed that data and presented to the government like these are the places which we need to target. Like there the vaccination drive has been very slow, so we need to speed up and we need to provide door to door vaccination. So this is one of the examples which data scientists perform. Like they will perform the things at the higher level. So that's the basic difference.
Okay, this with the help of algorithms, they are going to do this.
Right. They will have different algorithms and machine learning techniques which they will be following.
Okay.
Right.
Then you said about online learning center and Microsoft data engineer.
Correct.
So certifications.
Right.
What sort of projects can be done after doing that course? Can you
Okay.
give any two or three examples?
Okay, sure. So, like someone from you can do a similar sort of analysis related to, COVID. So, like now we are, I'll give a live example. Like, think of this scenario. So, Omicron is coming to different nation, various nation. Okay, we may not have the access to the data, exact data, but yeah, you see the numbers daily. So, as far as I know, UK recently produced the maximum number of cases in a single day. What was there ever since the pandemic started in UK, United Kingdoms. So that those kind of data. So what you can do is you can create some projects like in order to have a prediction of Omicron, like how it is going to behave, like how can be the behavior of Omicron comparing to the first and second wave of COVID. You have the data already for first wave, you have the data already for second wave. Now what your aim should be, like you can do something which would give a brief about like how Omicron is going to behave in the real world scenario, how it is going to impact us, how it is going to impact others, I mean India, how it is going to impact India, how it is going to impact at a global stage. So these are the kind of things what you can think of. This can be one of your projects. So it's a real time project, I must say. So, and apart from it, different analysis can be performed on, weather forecasting, and the basic. And other thing is like, I will draw your attention towards one more thing. Like, how many of you are interested in sports? Just type a yes in chat. Okay, I see one response. How about others? Nice, Nichiket. Even I love football.
Okay, there are students who play. Okay, Nachiket, football,
Right,
Larry, badminton.
right. Yeah. So,
Like this,
yes.
we have got a sponsor.
Correct. So, like we have sports analytics as well, similar to the analytics what we perform for weather or any other thing in this world. So, sports analytics is another industry which is booming these days. So there, what you need to do is analyze so what sports analytics would mean is you will analyze the player performance of the players, like, and you will provide the insights to them, like what are the areas they can improve. And this can be done like by seeing the data of their, as I said, example of football. I'll continue with football itself. Like, I like football, so I'll just talk about football a bit. So the football, there will be key stats like number of passes made by a player, number of key passes made by player, number of chances created by them, okay, number of shots on the target. So these are the stats which are taken from the match, and now based on this stat, one has to derive a meaningful information or insight. So what will help? What will that do is help that player to know, like, yeah, on this day today your accuracy was like if you have hit three shots on target and one went inside, so inside the goal, so your accuracy percentage is 33 over there. So this will help the player to understand like how many chances he is taking, how many chances are getting converted, and this will help them to become a good player or a better player. And this also helps in team's performance to grow. So this is also a kind of project what one can approach. Like they can go for analytics as well. Similar to football, they can go for badminton as well. Like how many shots were missed. Similarly in cricket as well. Like if we are going to analyze something about the bowler, like we need to know like how many deliveries that bowler has bowled in the over, which are above 140 miles per hour. So you'll come to know about those data once you dive deep into this. So I will say one is the COVID analysis, and the other one will be sports analytics, in which you can focus to do some projects, interesting projects. So yeah, that's all, sir.
Okay, Pratik,
Okay.
I've got one question.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Can the students with BE degree can directly become data scientists?
That is really very difficult to get, So the basic requirement, like if you go for data scientist job, like they will ask for at least 3 or 4 years of experience in data, being a data analyst or a data engineer. So currently, even I am trying for that, and I am facing a lot of rejections. So that is my personal experience. That someone with a lesser experience, it is really very difficult to land yourself into data scientist job. Giving my efforts towards that, and I hope someday I'll reach there. And but it is really very difficult. That's my personal experience, what I'm sharing with you all.
Okay, for data analyst, only BE engineering students or any other degree students also can join as a data engineer.
Anyone can, and the skill set is important there, not the experience. So data analyst skill set is important. For being data engineer, some experience in data and analyst field. And for being data scientist, you need to be master of everything, and that takes time.
Okay, thank you. Actually, in this session was very useful. Particularly, even I was confused with the category like data analyst, data engineer, and data scientist. I think you give a lot of insight and low-level details also you give.
Correct.
Particularly in terms of task that the data analyst has to do, data engineers has to do, data scientist has to do, in addition to the skills they possess. Yeah,
Correct.
actually, I'm very thankful to you, and you please be in touch in future also and give such type of suggestions
Sure, sure,
to our students also. Okay.
sure, sir.
Thank you.
It's
And
my
all students, you have to think all these things. You must be very interactive and take this webinar seriously. And he has given so many inputs. Okay, and at least now from now onwards, I think all the students will start to learn and try to become a data engineer. And also,
Yeah.
salary is told that it is very attractive as compared to the software engineer.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, okay. Once again, I'm very thankful to you, Pratikja.
Thank you.
Okay, all
Thank
the
you, sir.
best for your future.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Thank you, everyone.